Slow motion is a staple in film. It's used to dramatize moments and soak you in all the emotion and movements. It's been used to the point that our phone cameras can easily do it for you today. However, if you're getting started in film, you may be wondering how can you achieve this with your camera and editing software. Well, you'll be glad to know that it's pretty simple and we're going to be learning that today. It's a great day today. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. I am 20. Exactly, what is slow motion? I'm sure we've all seen the paper trick where someone draws an image on every piece of paper, and when he flips through those pages you see the person moving, and this is the basic principle behind motion picture. Your camera is capturing many pictures in 1 second, and that creates the effect of motion, thus motion pictures. And this is how we get to understand what slow motion is. In film we have different frame rates we shoot at: 24 frames per second, 50 frames per second, 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second. The higher you go, the more frames you get in a second, and this gives you a better chance of getting slow motion. Case in point, we shot this identical clip at 2 different frame rates, 24 frames per second and 50 frames per second. But when we tried to slow down the 24 frames per second in the same timeline with the 50 frames per second, you will see that the 24 frames per second clip is more choppy and it's not smooth, and that's because we have few pictures in a second, and when stretched out you can actually see the pictures. But when you look at the 50 frames per second video and it's in the same timeline, you will find that it is smoother, and that's because there are more pictures taken in that second. This is the first point I want to drive home. When you want to shoot slow motion, what frame rate are you shooting at? Whenever you're going out into the field and you know you're going to shoot slow motion, or you want slow motion for this clip, make sure you're shooting it at a higher frame rate than probably the timeline you're going to place it in your post-production software. So secondly, this is going to be in DaVinci Resolve, and it's quite similar to what you would do in Premiere Pro. A few differences in naming, but it's quite the same trick. Most films are shot at 24 frames per second because we believe that's the natural processing of the human eye, so it feels more natural. So we should open up a 24 frames per second timeline, and you can check that out in your settings. After that's done, import your footage. For this example, we'll be using a video of our neighbor's dog, Bella. We shot this at 60 frames per second. So there's 2 ways you can achieve your slow motion. The simplest way is going to your bin and finding your clip. You right click on the clip and choose clip attributes. In Premiere Pro it should be something like interpret footage. Once you've clicked that, you'll see the area depicting the frame rate at which this video was shot in camera. Click the drop down and change it to the frame rate of the timeline you're using. In essence, it's trying to stretch out these 60 frames to fit within the 24 frames, and thus slowing down our footage. Sometimes you just want to slow down a bit of that clip, you don't want to slow down the whole clip. So what you're going to do is you're going to change it back to the frame rate we shot at, which was 50 frames per second. Then drag the clip and drop it in the timeline. Right click on the video and select the retime controls. After dragging your marker to where you want your slow motion to start, click the drop down arrow and select add speed point. When the speed point is created, move your cursor to the end of the clip and you will see this double pointed arrow. Now drag out this arrow to the percentage to which you want to slow down your clip. I'm not very good at the maths here, but you will find that when you pass a certain percentage it will start to look choppy. So be very careful at this point to keep it natural. After doing that, and when you play back your clip, you will see that your slow motion starts at the very point that you want it to start. A bonus thing you could do is when you're done adding the slow motion, come back to the clip, right click on it and select retime curve. The retime curve is going to help us be able to smoothen out this transition from the first side of the video clip to the second. You'll select the small gray circle, come up to here where you see these 2 symbols, and select the one which has a smooth curve. After selecting the smooth curve and you play back the footage, you will see that the transition is smoother. So there you have it, 2 little tricks for you to be able to apply slow motion in your clips. Hopefully the next time you're out there and you're shooting for slow motion, you're confident in your abilities because of this video. Anyways, I have to get back to the birthday celebration, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Oh, And always remember to deliver a feeling. Peace.